What's going on, guys? So Tristan here with 0 Buck 30 and 0 Duck 30. If you're coming to this video, you're wanting to learn how to break down your deer and basically butcher it on your own. I'm going to start by saying I'm not the expert in this. There's people that are way more efficient at it than I am, but I've had some friends that have asked me, hey, how do you do it? So I'm just going to show you guys how I do it. And honestly, I don't mind if you want to drop some tips in the comments. If you see anything I could be doing better, let me know. But I'm just going to go through it. So last night, shot this little 5-pointer. I've been having it stuffed with ice all night because didn't get super cold last night. It was in the 60s, so it's been stuffed with ice, laying in the back of my truck, just to make sure that meat doesn't go bad. And then now I'm about to get it hung up and take the cape off and kind of go to town on quartering it up. So stay tuned. Okay, so I kind of got them rigged up here, and honestly, ideally, you'd want to get them higher, but that's not going to work for me just with my height of my ceiling and my setup here. So yeah, we're gonna go to town, start around his neck, and basically just work our way around skinning him, and I'll kind of show you guys that process. Now look, if this was higher, this would definitely be easier to work on, especially as we get further down the deer, but just got to make it work with what we got going on here. So let's get to it. If you guys are wondering, I'm using the Outdoor Edge, kind of like surgical blade knives. The thing to remember here is at the end of the day, you can't really go wrong. Just do your best to get the cape off clean, take your time, and you'll get through it. All right, so we got the cape off. It took about 30 minutes, and again, this would be so much easier if I had this deer higher, so I totally recommend if you're doing this to try to get that deer up as high as possible, because it's just gonna be easier to work if you're cutting at this level versus having to squat down. So that was kind of a pain in the ass, but nonetheless, we got the deer with the cape off. Now we're gonna get into breaking and basically quartering down the deer, and then taking off the loins and things like that. So, all right, guys. So I got my cooler here, and every quarter that I break down off of this and all the meat and stuff, I'm gonna just start throwing in this cooler. Then I'm gonna go rinse it after I get it all done and go from there. So first things first, you're going to take a pair of these or something similar and just cut at the knuckle here and take the bottom part of these legs off. Okay. Alright guys, so we're going to get into breaking down a shoulder. So you're just going to start here, and you can see it's kind of, once you get into this, you kind of just follow this back. I don't know if you guys can see down in here, but you're essentially just following these ligaments and stuff. You kind of see like that. So boom, this is just part of the neck, so I'm going to cut this off here, and then kind of starting to see how it's starting to come together. Just keep working it back. Keep working it. And there is your shoulder quarter. That took off about a minute. So as you can see, once you get into it with the shoulders, it's pretty easy. Alright, so next we're going to work on the neck meat here. And essentially, what I do is just kind of get into it up here. Which again, I'm not a professional, so I don't know how you professionals do this, but that's how I'm doing it. Essentially what you're left here with, guys, is a good piece of meat for roast. Just gotta get all the hair off of it and get good little piece of meat. All this stuff will kind of, well, when you cook it or slow roast it in the crock pot, all this kind of just dissipates and yeah, just kind of melts away. Now this is my favorite part where we get to do the back straps. So what you're gonna do is you want to find that spine. You're gonna come in here and just start essentially, this is just like some other kind of meat here, some kind of rib, flank, whatever kind of meat, I don't know, but essentially you kind of see the back strap starting to show there. So what you're going to do is kind of cut along the spine here. It goes all the way back down to here, and you'll feel you can kind of run your finger down it. There's a bone here at the end that you hit that comes into the hip bone and or the pelvis or whatever, and that's the end of the back strap. So basically you're looking at there all the way down, and this stuff, we can just go ahead and peel this off. Just kind of get up here like so, get you a cut going. You can kind of get your finger on the other side of this too and feel how that muscle runs. This is what is getting eaten for dinner tonight. And it's okay to take your time with this because I want to try to get as much clean meat out as possible on these. And again, I'm sure there's probably some butcher that can do this in 10 seconds. But not me yet. You just want to keep kind of working it back from the spine and the top of the rib cage there. And there is one back strap. Took me a second to get it out, but yeah, beautiful piece of meat. I'll get it cleaned up, and this is what's going to be for dinner tonight. This is going to be just like the shoulder, guys. It does take a little bit more effort to get the ham off just because it's connected there at the hip joint, but once you get through that, you're all good. I also like to spray the meat off when I'm done just to make sure I'm getting as much hair and dirt off as possible. Alright guys, so we got our ice in the bottom of the cooler. What we're going to do is we're going to take an unscented garbage contractor bag, lay it on top of the ice, right? This is important because we want to basically allow the meat to kind of age and for a couple days and kind of bleed out a little bit, but we don't want it sitting on the ice and getting waterlogged. So we're going to go ahead and lay that down. Then we're going to take the meat, lay it on top. Now I've always been told that this part is kind of essential to getting that gaminess out of the meat. So that's why I've always done it. And, you know, people say to let it do this for 2 or 3 days. I'm just going to let it go until I'll probably start working on some of this meat tonight, and you guys will see that. Or I might start working on it Friday, so maybe day and a half. But I'm gonna let this kind of do its thing. The back straps, like I said, one of them's getting cooked tonight. Lay these on top. I'm going to process these now because I just don't want to take any risk of those getting messed up or anything. But the other important thing with this, so we got ice down at the bottom, got meat on top. We'll shut the cooler. You want to have a cooler with a plug on it, right? Because what we're going to do is we're going to put this cooler on a tilt, so that way all the blood and water and all that stuff can run out. So I'm going to find me like a block of wood. So here we are. Got this rolling. So it's neat to kind of do this thing. So what you're looking at there is the inner loins. So we're just gonna come in here like so. And really, sometimes you just take these out with your hands. And just kind of get back behind there and follow the muscle. This is a super tender piece of meat. Definitely one. I'm gonna cook this tonight. Probably two. There's one of them. And I didn't use my knife one time for that. And ideally you want to put this in a spot with the least amount of sun possible, just to help get as much life of, out of your ice as possible, but this will work. What's up, guys? So we're back. You saw me take apart the deer. Now we're going to get into breaking down the actual muscle groups and what I do with them. Again, not a professional here, just showing you how I do it. We're going to start with the back strap, and I'm just going to walk you guys through what I do with this. So again, if you guys have any critiques or anything like that, or just any tips, that could actually help me out even, or help some other folks out, feel free to leave them in the comments, but we're going to get after it. All right, so what we're looking at here is silver skin, right? You don't want to eat silver skin when you're cooking a steak or anything like that, because it tends to not break down well on short cooks, and it's just chewy. There's nothing wrong with it, but what you're going to want to do is get this off. So how I like to do this is you can go from either way, but you want to kind of get I like to use a fillet knife, because you can really just slide underneath that and keep it between the muscle and the silver skin. So what I'm going to do, I don't like to fully start at the end, because you like to having an attachment point still makes it easier to cut, kind of like filleting a fish. Essentially, that's what we're doing here. So you just kind of want to get in as close as you can there like this. And you're just going to take that knife and, to the best of your ability, try to get as much off each pass. And just, you don't want to dig too much into the meat, obviously, and you just kind of want to keep it right underneath there. So look. See, I got a little bit deep there. You want to try to avoid doing that. But here again, come right here, slide underneath, and just take this all the way down. And we're looking at the backside here now, guys, and there's just some stuff here on the backside that you'll want to clean up too, a little bit more silver skin. Just get that off. If you got any gray areas, that's just a little bit of waterlog that just happens. Just kind of want to get that scraped off. Yeah, you're just cleaning it up at this point. That's what we're doing. Alright guys, so your finished product is going to look something like this. Again, you don't have to be super OCD about it, because you can clean it up more when you go to eat it. But, I always try to kind of slice it into like portion sizes, right? Like little steaks, like maybe 6-8 ounce steaks. So, and this is really what I use backstrap for, is steaks. I feel like it's kind of wasting backstraps to do stuff like any other kind of recipe, because it's so good as a steak that I just feel like it should be utilized kind of for that instead of some of the other stuff, but do with it as you please. So yeah, there we go. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4, like five meals out of that. All right, vacuum sealing time. You don't have to have one of these, but this is gonna make your meat last like, I don't know, maybe up to 2 years even. So yeah, it's just a food saver. You can get them at Walmart. This one, I think it's like 120 bucks. And then yeah, you just get these bags with it. So boom, you go here. Go ahead and seal that. I definitely could have made this bag a lot smaller, but it'll be fine. So go ahead and hit back seal. And that's how it's done. And I know for a fact that you can go at least a year and this will be good. So yeah, and then I just always label it loin so I don't get mixed up with any of the other steaks, but that's all there is to it. All right, so next we're gonna be breaking down the ham, this bad boy. So we're gonna get into it and I'm gonna show you guys how I do it. All right, so we're gonna start by just taking this silver skin, get a lot of this silver skin off. Basically, what we're gonna be doing is getting this down the front end and opening up these kind of muscle groups, I guess you can call them, that will kind of separate, and that'll be the different types of meat we're gonna get out of this. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about with this one. I'm cutting away at it, opening that up to expose that big muscle there. And as you start to do this, you start to find how these muscles are segmented. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is a big, let me see here. This is what I use this as a big roast. I'll show you guys here in a second once I get it out, but you're just going to keep kind of cutting it out. And everything's kind of, it's like nature kind of packages everything the way it's supposed to be, I guess, with these membranes. Kind of keeps them in their own place, I guess. So it kind of makes it easy once you get into it. Alright guys, so you saw how that came out. This is just one big roast is what I use this for. So we can just kind of clean this up and vacuum seal it as is, but this is great for everything from taco or like carne asada type tacos or carnitas tacos. You can just make an old-fashioned pot roast with this. I mean, anything you can do with a normal beef roast, you can do with this. So excellent piece of meat for that. And again, all the sinew and stuff is all going to break down when you slow cook it, and it'll just kind of disintegrate. So that's kind of the first thing there. All right, guys. So I want to show you how easily this starts to come apart here. And just it's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, what you're going to do is keep following the sinew, and you see how this kind of pulls apart and this meat's just separating into its own piece. But I mean, there's not a whole lot to it when it comes to this aspect of it. That's actually a gland right there that you want to make sure you get out, along with all that fat. So boom, there's another good piece of meat. I'm gonna clean this up, and I like to use this piece of meat to cut into steaks personally. So, but this is good for ground. You could roast it, you could do whatever you want, but the pieces I can get steak out of, I like to get steak out of it. So that's what I'm gonna do with this. Alright guys, so more or less this is the ham completely deboned. You can kind of pick away at this and get some, extra burger meat or roast meat. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is you want to kind of keep a pile going of just little scraps of meat that you can't really make anything out of besides burger, and you just kind of all throw it in a pile, and then you can go ahead and freeze it and create burger out of it at some point. But that's pretty much it for the ham. I'm going to go ahead and get everything vacuum sealed and show you the finished product. Alright guys, now for the last kind of last piece we got here. So now we're going to show you breaking down a shoulder. This is all I use this for is basically roast and the burger pile. So that's what we're going to get out of this. And same thing as last time, we're just going to get into it and start taking some of that sinew off and breaking down the muscle groups. So let's get it. Alright, so now we got this a little bit trimmed up. We're just going to get into breaking it down. It's the same thing as with the ham, you're just finding those muscle lines basically, just cutting a different piece of muscle. And that's more or less all there is to the shoulder, guys. You know, you can sit here and pick some of these pieces off to throw to your burger pile, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, this is all just gonna be good roast meat. I'm gonna just package this up, you know, into portions and be ready for a crock pot sometime soon. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm going to finish out the rest of the meat and then show you guys the complete packaged product of all of it when I'm done. So. Alright guys, so here's our final product. We got all the roast, we got the steak, we got the burger meat. Got it all put together here. I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm guessing like maybe somewhere between 20 and 25 pounds of meat off that deer. They say for every 100 pounds you get like 25 to 35% of that in usable meat. So that's pretty much it, guys. So again, if you saw anything in the video you thought I could have done better, leave me a comment. And yeah, it's just for the average guy that wants to, you know, shoot a deer and butcher it up himself. It's definitely doable. If you have a little bit of time, you can invest in a name, I can't think of what they're called. The freezer bags, the sealers. If you can get one of those and invest in that, be off to the races. That and a sharp knife.